It's night. We've never filmed at night before, but we are now because TELO has become a 24-hour office. We've got way too many parts and components all coming together for us to only work during the daylight hours. We got motors, we've got brackets, we've got cranes. This one's yellow. We call it TELO yellow because it's important that it rhymes. We've got composite structural components. We've got custom steering racks. I'm not supposed to be touching this. I'm gonna leave the more technical details, of course, to the engineers because unlike me, they know what they're talking about. So, without further ado, let's get ready for, hello there. Graham, what time is it?
Oh, I think it's, what, 10:30?
It's pretty late. This is a later recording, but is that usual around here?
Yeah, it's pretty common, especially this last couple of weeks. It's been busy. There's a lot of new parts that we added here to the chassis.
Wow.
It's been bonding week, so we've been kind of doing the final assembly and fixturing of all the parts, and we're going to be shipping this off to our contract manufacturer down in Irvine, Aria, very soon. So it's been a very hectic 2 weeks.
And is this a structural component?
Yeah, this is our firewall, which incorporates our wheel well and our strut tower mounts, and it is structural.
What are these big, jagged things coming out now?
Yeah, these are our crash cans, crush boxes. In short, these are our energy absorbers that really take the impact of the crash and they'll really collapse. Down here, this is where our front lower control arm will mount. Or of that, we have our front subframe, which will mount our steering rack, our sway bar.
When are all these parts back on the bed?
Parts for, the things like cross-car beams, mounting the seats, etc. There's a lot of parts that make up a vehicle, and so we've had to design a lot of custom parts.
We've got this big box behind you here. I assume you're not making a house.
No, this is not for baking cookies. So yeah, this is our big chassis table. It's a very rigid, very precise fixture table that allows to repeatedly build multiple units. The type of epoxy that we're using benefits from a warmer cure. Once we lay down the epoxy, it starts to set on its own, but does really well when it has outside heat applied to it. So we'll slide this big box over.
Oh, you move this? Because, yeah, this is probably much harder to move.
This is way harder.
Oven goes over it, and then how long is it sitting in there?
About 30 minutes to an hour and 30 minutes. And what we'll do is we'll be logging all the temperatures across the chassis to make sure things are going well.
How does it feel to have all this rendered out and then see it coming together for real?
Oh my gosh, it's so exciting. Like we've been staring at this on our computer screens for a really long time now, and come see it, come to light. It's really something special.
Is the motor sitting right here?
Oh yeah, that's where the front motor sits.
Dang.
Steering and suspension and a bunch of HVAC and cooling components. It's very busy up here in the front.
I see. David, good evening. Thanks for being here so late into the night. What's been changing on the rear?
So I think 2 days ago, we just got all this bonded. So I think before you might have seen some of the dry fit we were doing with the temporary rivets that we had installed. Now there's a whole bunch of bond area attaching all of these components.
How does the battery pack exactly mounted inside this very, very tight space?
Yeah, so the battery pack, at least the enclosure for it, goes almost all the way to the edge of the rigid chassis. Of course, the body panels are sitting much further out. There's additional crash structure on the side for side impact.
That's good.
In terms of attachment, we're on the underside of these rails. So the entire battery pack comes up underneath the vehicle, likely on an assembly line. It's bolted all along under here. And inside this rail, there's actually it's like a T-slot almost. We have a long steel strip with a bunch of weld nuts pre-installed on that, and accessing those are a bunch of small slots in this frame rail. So that gives us some adjustability in terms of placement for the pack.
As far as assembly goes, when does the giant crane come into play? Because it's enormous.
We'll put that to use as soon as we're done epoxying the front up, which is going to be tomorrow.
Wow. Okay.
So once this is bonded, that big crane will slide over the entire chassis table lengthwise, pick the chassis up with electronic hoist, and then pull it over, suspend it in the air, most likely install the rest of the suspension components, and then it will be a rolling bare chassis.
Wow.
Ready for a battery, ready for the exterior, ready to go down to Aria.
And we've got another motor to stuff down here as well, right?
Yes, so not pictured is the rear subframe that's in the back of the shop right now.
Gotcha.
That's like a full single package. So it's the subframe, motor, the the suspension arms. The only attachment points are through some bushings on these top rails and the rear strut towers.
That's going to be a lot of performance in a very, very small form factor. I love it.
Yeah, well, just from the rear drive unit, we should get around 280 horsepower.
Just from one
Just
on
from
the
one
back.
unit, yeah.
Okay.
So going forward, we'll likely downsize the front unit some.
Yeah.
Since with this prototype, we'll be making more power than we intend to deliver for the production unit.
Dang.
Okay. We're going to be making around 560 around there.
Oh, jeez.
So going to a smaller front motor kind of helps our crash simulation and actual performance.
Probably efficiency too.
Yeah, a little bit. If you downsize, they're permanent magnet motors, so if you downsize, there's a little bit less rolling resistance going that way. And also, just in terms of performance, if you're at the drag strip, let's say, not that this is a dedicated drag car, but
could be.
Your weight transfers to the rear, you get less grip on the front. Suddenly, all that power in the front is less useful.
Right.
So a 50-50 split of power isn't necessarily great for all scenarios.
And back here we've got some similar looking crash cans.
These are much smaller, but we have 2 crash cans in the rear. We don't have the bumper beams in yet, but those will be showing up in a couple of weeks. So there's a big curved aluminum crash rail that mounts above the hitch, kind of a little bit further back, right behind the rear bumper.
Well, appreciate you putting all this time and effort into it. Last question. What's the latest you've been here over the past couple weeks?
Last couple weeks, probably 3, maybe 4 a.m.
AM? Oh,
Sometimes it drags on, when you start doing prep for epoxy at like noon, it takes longer than you expect. There's some surface treatments we do prior to laying down epoxy that once you do them, you need to start the epoxy process in like 15-20 minutes after that, and then that drags on longer, and then you have to kind of baby the oven while it cures. There's some late nights every now and then, but it's totally worth it to see this come together on such a short time frame.
and on that note, let's all go home. It's too late. But we'll see you soon.